Hey Anita, hello. Welcome to
Hello.
Maran Chronicles. Today we are going to Benakulin metro station from Bugis. From here we are Kalang, we are going to Bugis and then Benakulin to reach the National Singapore Museum, guys. On the way to Singapore Museum, guys. Raining, rain, go away. The National Museum of Singapore, guys, the main museum, Fort Canning Park, both are very famous places. So we are now about to enter this beautiful museum. Amazing. Benakulin is also very near the metro station. From there you can go to the next line to go to the metro station. Wonderful, guys. Amazing. So as we enter this beautiful National Museum of Singapore, amazing, guys. This is a wonderful museum with all artifacts, provide details about the history of Singapore. Almost 1,700 artifacts are carefully preserved, guys. The historical building is an architectural marvel itself. 1887 this is constructed. It will provide you all the history of Singapore, how it is established, how the country was created, how the art became technology, and you can also walk into the 3D world. The story of the forest, the glass rotunda, and the journey through time capsule of Singapore History Gallery, exploring prehistoric Malaya to modern times. Entry ticket is $10 for foreign citizens. Wonderful, guys. Do come here by morning 10 o'clock. You will enjoy this beautiful museum in its entirety. Do watch the full video, guys. We are about to enter this beautiful National Museum of Singapore. The ticket counter. As I mentioned, $10 is the ticket price. Once the ticket price is done, you will go into a tunnel. You will enter this tunnel and then you will be greeted with 4 levels. Level 0, Level 1, 2, 3. Level 1 would be the historical tour. Level 2 would be the story of the forest. And Level 3 would be the plastic reincarnation, how the plastics were minimized in Singapore. So stay tuned, guys, don't miss this video, see it fully to enjoy and to understand about Singapore. So this explains the history of the Singapore, as you can see with the map, how the ancient world transformed into the new modern world. Explains in detail. In 1570 itself, the sailors have come to Singapore from across different parts of the world. And though slowly it got developed and cultural changes happened. So this explains you in detail once you come to the museum. It's kind of light show plus interactive show which shows the map, provides you all details on this 3D map as you can see here. And the early civilization artifacts are also vividly displayed here. So guys, you can see the sandstone, Singapore stone. When Britishers arrived in 18th century, they found this boulder at the Singapore coast, at the mouth of the Singapore River. So this boulder is also called as Singapore stone. It is well preserved. And now we are going to explore the history of Singapura. The old name of Singapore was Singapura from 1299 to 1818. During those days, the sailors have come across the sea with different ships and boats. The ships were powered by the pressure of the wind. As you can see here, the specimen of the ship is clearly visible. And also, it provides a visible indication about the history of Singapore, how it evolved during the course of the years. So during those days when the Britishers arrived in 18th century, they have got so many artifacts during those days were preserved here. The vessels that were used, right? And also the different other things that were used are also clearly preserved here. And those times, there were used to be a lot of tribals as well, the native tribes within Singapore. Their lifestyles were much more different, and they also evolved into the modern era. So please stay tuned for the entire video. And here it explains the different pottery and the different artifacts of these native tribes. So these pottery items were well preserved. Also, you can see a lot of items, guys. Amazing, isn't it? With mud, these were created. Wow, lot of vessels are available here. Very well preserved, and they also deal with tobacco industry as well. So they have shown these different industrial tobacco products as well as other vegetation products they used to store in the caskets. And there is evolution of the art forms. The native tribes videos are also getting played over here. Let me explain you the historical evolution. Crown Colony 1819 to 1941. Britishers and Dutch, they have come to Singapore as sailors and they have ruled Singapore for a lot of decades. And as you can see, the agricultural sector history also changed, the modernization started. Finally, Singapore got independence in the later 19th century. You can see the currency and also map of the Singapore, how the sailors have come to Singapore in search of trade and also raw materials. You can see here the different maps at different eras when Singapore was slowly evolving as with the rulers. Here you can see the different artiforms, the old map, how the world used to be in 15th century, depicting the various countries, clearly explains the coming of the Europeans, how the sultans, ship captains and the spice trade started in 15th century within Singapore. And then Dutch arrived. You can see here the weapons. The different weapons are also available here. How the war happened between different parts. A new government by Dutch was established in almost 17th, 18th century. The letters inscriptions were also clearly mentioned over here. Wow, great guys. Amazing, isn't it? All the weapons are preserved over here. The knives, the long knives, different types of axes, spades and so on. These are the treaty letters from different parts of friendship treaty letter between the Sultanian and Europeans. How the trade practices happened. And this is the different art forms in those times, guys. Amazing, isn't it? So we are going to explore each and every art form here. These are the different weapons used, and this is how the ships were attacked during the war times. In spite of treaty, sometimes the ship was attacked by different enemies. And here you will see the Munshi Abdullah, the early Singapore, the start of the story of Abdullah. He is the great William Farquhar, the first resident, a Scottish officer from East India Company. Resident became in Singapore. And as you can see, lot of different details have been given over here. So many artifacts, guys. If you're interested about history, come to National School, National History. Everything is very well explained. Here they have also clearly explained about the Sultan's kingdom in Singapore along with the coins. These are the coins from the several currencies, guys, during those times, are very well preserved. So if you're a historian, you can come here. You can gain a lot of knowledge about the history of Singapore by going to this museum, reading all the artifacts. Amazing, guys. So during those times, the prisoners were having this kind of big bricks hanged on their necks and arms as part of the prison rules. As you can see here, these are rocks which are used for the prisoners to torture them. And similarly, here you can see the jute bags and other artifacts. Amazing, guys. These are all different prisons that we are showing you. Those times, there were a lot of trade practices across multiple countries. Now we are going to explore the history of opium. Opium is a dangerous drug. This explains how the opium is manufactured, how they is inhaled into the lungs. Since people use opium, they lost their complete age. I mean to say, the longevity was reduced. Early to mid 20th century, during opium smoking has resulted in multiple deaths and loss of life, and also they lost their youth. They used to have early deaths, as you can see here in these different portraits. Later on, the opium was banned and no more was used in Singapore. Great history, guys. Lot of lessons to be learned. This shows the various emperors who ruled Singapore at different times of timeline, right from 18th century until early 19th century. Amazing, guys. Here you can see the specimen of the human rickshaw. This rickshaw is pulled by humans. Now we are going to explore the details about Lim Boon Keng. He is a doctor, scholar, and a great philanthropist of Singapore. He has changed Singapore dramatically. Amazing, guys, amazing personalities. How he has created the great Singapore. Very clearly explains all details here. Here you can see the model of a iron tank being used in the early 19th century during wars. This tank is impeccable, guys. These images explain the evolution of Singapore, how Singapore created from Malaysia, how it got divided, how the rules were different, how it started exploring the modernization of Singapore era. Okay, and also explains the liberty or the liberalization of Singapore, how it got developed. As you can see, a lot of speeches, a lot of artifacts, details about the Singapore leaders. Do spend some time here when you visit this National Museum of Singapore. And slowly development has begun. Refrigerator, microwave, cassette recorders, national pressure cookers, electric cookers, and economy started building. Textiles, industry, evolution into the modern world, guys. Just amazing how fast Singapore got evolved into the modern world. And then television came into picture, telephones, right? And also a lot of machinery, machines started being used in industries as well as radio services. A lot of things have come across, guys, during the evolution of Singapore. As you can see now, the modern Singapore house. Amazing, isn't it? So finally, Singapore is one of the beautiful country to visit, and we are very happy to explore the history of Singapore. After the World War II, the development was significantly contributed, and now since 1959, it is on the path of the development. Now let us explore the second level, the great history of the forest, Glass Rotunda. We're about to enter it, guys. History of the forest. Entire history of forest is being projected as a 3D wall art while we enter into this beautiful So let us explore the Singapore way of tree conservation project. As you know, they have conserved multiple trees for thousands of years to maintain the ecological balance and to make it more zero carbon emissions. Wonderful, guys. Overall, we really enjoyed this beautiful museum. We got to know how Singapore got independence, what are the native tribes, how the development has started, the creation of zero emission norms, how the trees are protected by Singapore. As you can see, very old trees. Let me show you some of the trees, how they are preserved. And thanks to the microplastic recyclement plan. In the modern home, if you observe, there are a lot of plastics are used for day-to-day activities, day-to-day luggages, day-to-day articles. So now Singapore has come across with using old plastic bags and converting them as furniture with zero carbon emissions. Amazing discovery, guys. This is a modern home replica. As you can see, Anita is sitting over here, where all things are used by recycled plastic. Here, there is an activity which explains how you can analyze any plastic or any product by using this machine. Plastic is remaking our world, guys. It gives you history of plastic waste ban, and we are analyzing the plastic items of one of the cover. What kind of chemical compounds are being used by using this device? Great evolution, guys. The process is also featured in the National Geographic. It's a plastic waste, guys. How they are segregating, how they are recycling. This explains the whole recycling process that Singapore is practicing. Overall, we enjoyed this beautiful National Museum of Singapore. I hope you liked it. Do explore this museum. Enjoy a full day tour, guys. Like, share, subscribe Himalayan Chronicles. Your lovely Anita and Viplav signing off for the next episode coming soon. Thanks for watching Himalayan Chronicles.